Good morning, folks. Thank you for being here early. We do appreciate it, and we hope you're having a good morning. And while you're settling in, please take a quick look here at the controls of this live webinar. You'll see that there are some options for how the audio plays, and you can also enable subtitles or closed captions in a variety of languages. Please take a look at that and enjoy a short clip of a previous event that we had just earlier, about a month ago. Thank you all. We'll see you in about 4 minutes. We are getting close to the end of our show here, but we're not quite done yet. And I wanted to make sure before you go, I know you have a hard stop at 11:30, Omari. There's a comment and a request there that I think is real pertinent to what you just talked about and it is the Mayor's Council on African American Elders. It's called MCAE, and there's a link there in the live Q&A. It's a City of Seattle commission, and currently there are several vacancies, and that council or that is looking for individuals who are interested in being appointed. So the request is, Omari, is will you please help spread the word to help us identify people who are interested in advocating 100%. For older Americans.
What 100%, and let me be clear right here, Lenny, and make sure and please email me this information for follow-up after the show. I want to be very clear that, man, me, Omari Salisbury, and Converge Media, we love our elders, we advocate for our elders, and nothing gets us riled up more than when our elders aren't getting a fair shake, and if someone's trying to take advantage of our elders or putting them in less than equitable situations. We started the Morning Update show specifically for our elders. They're a treasure to us. They're it's a cornerstone, not only to our community, but to our city. So anything that Converge Media can do to be supportive of our elders, you consider it done.
Well, with a few minutes that we have, I know we probably won't do it justice, and maybe that's something that could be continued on another show of yours, or when this is posted on YouTube. We hope that you can respond in the comments. But the last question that I think we have time for is, how does Converge engage with the African immigrant communities across generations?
Well, let me tell you. So first of all, mimi kusema Kiswahili kidogo leo. I said these days I speak just a little bit of Kiswahili, but living all those years over there in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, I used to go up to Ethiopia all the time, fly up there in the Bole airport, hang out at the Mercado. I have a lived experience in East African culture in East Africa, and as well as South Africa and West Africa, but especially East Africa. And we're engaging with the community, but we need to do more. We want to do more. And so, I want to meet more people, because first of all, especially Swahili speakers, I'm nothing against everybody else, but you can see I can just pop up when I get started speaking just a little bit of Swahili. But we want to engage that whole community. And I also want to say, man, this platform is yours as well. That's an area that we want to do more, and we're going to commit ourselves to doing more, and because that's a very important community and a very important part of our city and our fabric of our city and who we are.
That is, I'm sure folks very much appreciate what your commitment is to community elders, and that happens to be our commitment at Age Friendly Seattle. Thank you so much, Omari, for being here. We're gonna let you go. We hope that folks check out your shows, all of them, but the Morning Update is certainly the one that I try to catch on the regular. Thanks again, Omari, and we'll see you around. Hopefully in person soon.
All right. Catch you soon. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a good one. All right. Well, welcome one and all to another Age-Friendly Live presentation. My name is Lenny Orlov. I'm your host. And as you can see, I am streaming live for you from our virtual studio in my Seattle apartment right here in Seattle, Washington. And, you know, being in Seattle, we definitely want to always start with a land acknowledgement statement. So let me do that right now. We ask that you please join us with that. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. Please visit duwamishtribe.org to learn more about the Duwamish, the people of the inside who are still here, and find out how you can get involved and what type of events they have going on. Please check it out, and we thank you. So what's happening today on our program is we're beginning to celebrate Women's History Month, and we'll start off today with Noura Adam from Immigrant Women's Community Center. We'll also hear a brief update from our partner, the Seattle Public Library, about what they're doing on their road to reopening. But first, very briefly about Age-Friendly Seattle and age-friendly concept, movement in general. If you're here, then you are our age-friendly champions. Age-friendly means making places where people live better to grow up and grow old. There are various domains of livability that have been identified by the World Health Organization, and they are, you know, socials and civic participation, housing, transportation, access to healthcare and information, and the list goes on. You're welcome to find out more at seattle.gov/AFS, which stands for Age-Friendly Seattle, and learn more about the action plan that the City of Seattle has that's supported by the mayor and the council. We are in the 4th year of our action plan, and we're concentrating this year on connection, inclusion, and access. And so looking at the slide, if you're watching this online, you'll notice that there are 7 languages that we're offering in terms of closed captioning. And these languages are Arabic, Chinese, English, Korean, Russian, Spanish, and Vietnamese. Click that gear underneath the video if you haven't already and see which language would work for you to enjoy today's event. But we realize that not everybody has access to the internet. So we have figured out a way to offer these on the phone, and I see there's a number of folks on the phone right now. And so we certainly welcome you, and we will look for your feedback a little bit later. But those of you who are watching online, if you know some folks who could still join us today, it's an hour-long program, please pass along the phone number, and that's 206-686-8357. And once folks dial that number, all they have to do is put in a conference ID, and that's 224-689-164, and then press pound. For those of you joining on the phone, just a reminder that if you happen to mute yourself by pressing *6, you would have to press *6 again to speak when we have our question period. All right, so how will that actually work today? Well, regardless of how you're joining us, online or by phone, it's all about connecting, community elders with community leaders. And we'll hear from one of our community leaders today, from Nura. We will have a couple of folks in the virtual studio whom you haven't seen yet, but they're there. They're Michael Taylor-Judd and Justin England. They're both from the Human Services Department. And once we go to the question and answer period, we will have questions read out loud from the Q&A that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, where you can ask questions. And I would encourage you to go ahead. You may have seen some links already posted there. And this is where you can ask your questions. If you have some questions already for Nura or for Nancy, who is our library representative, whom you meet in just a second, or for Human Services Department, go ahead and type your question in, and we'll see if we can answer it either in the chat or on the live program. Certainly, if we run out of time, we can always post your questions on YouTube, where we are going to post this recording as soon as it's available, and then we can continue the conversation there. So if you don't want to miss this recording showing up on our YouTube channel, we do encourage you to go ahead and subscribe, click that notification bell, and then you'll be the first to know when this is uploaded. Of course, if there is a question that you have that's related to aging or disability that goes beyond what's being covered today, we encourage you to go ahead and call 1-844-348-5464, and that is the line for Community Living Connections. That is a network of community organizations in Seattle and King County, which can help find access to services and resources such as food and meals. And these organizations in your community, they're all throughout Seattle and King County. And so there's a couple of ways that this could happen. If you know of an organization and that URL does have a list of organizations with a map of where they're located, you're welcome to, if they're open, walk in and ask for support. And even if they don't provide a particular service, they can refer you to another organization in the network. Or calling the 1-800 number would also, that's an opportunity to also find out where resources are available. So we are on Close to Home today, but Close to Home does have a sister program called the Civic Coffee Hour, and it's a program that actually predates Close to Home, which only been around for now almost a year, since last April. And was organized to kind of fill the void that was there after the initial stay-at-home orders. But the Civic Coffee Hour has been around for over a dozen years, and its goal, unlike Close to Home, which is more of a community connection opportunity, Civic Coffee Hour is an opportunity for community elders to connect with government decision makers. And today is the first Thursday of the month, so that's when the Close to Homes are. The Civic Coffee Hours are on the third Thursday of the month, and that's been that way for, like I said, over a decade. And we want to welcome you and invite you in 2 weeks to continue celebrating Women's History Month with us, when we'll meet Tanya Kim and Lan Pham. They're both from the Human Services Department. Tanya will talk about the brand new division here in Human Services called Safe and Thriving Communities. And Lan will talk about the Mayor's Office on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. It's going to be a conversation about public safety through investments in prevention, intervention, and direct support for survivors. You will find both the Close to Home and the Coffee Hour all in the same place. It's bit.ly/age-friendly-live. All one word, but each of those words, age, friendly, and live, are capitalized. And both are produced in partnership with the Seattle Public Library, for which we're very much thankful. And that's been going on since 2020, even before the pandemic hit our planet. We had planned to use technology to try to bring these civic connection opportunities to folks around Seattle and King County by doing broadcasting of the live events that we had at the library. That's been put on hold for now, but we really hope to go back to it. And now that we've been streaming live virtually exclusively for almost a year now, we've gotten some experience there. So next, we will get a brief update here from the Seattle Public Library. Our esteemed colleague from SPL is Nancy Sloat. I like to call her the special agent in charge of age friendliness. I think I'm going to say it on every show until it gets old. And people are going to say, well, we know that she is the older adults program manager, but that's who she is. We love working with you, Nancy. I'm going to bring you up on the live program. So if you unmute your microphone, you will be live.
Hi, everybody, and good morning. I'm so happy to be here because I always love talking about the library and what you can find there and all of our services. And I also just wanted to say how much we at the library appreciate our partnership with Human Services and the Age Friendly and with Lenny and everybody who works there for being able to bring these programs to you. As I've said before, for some of you who have been here before, I actually learn a great deal about community organizations and work with older adults as well with government officials. So could I have the next slide? I know that everybody wishes the library branches were physically open to the public. Probably the library staff more than ever, we miss the public. We are working, and sometime in March, we will be opening several branches for some limited in-person openings in the branches. So more information will come out about that publicly, and you'll find that on our website. But meanwhile, the biggest service that we have is what we call curbside pickup, where you place a hold on an item and you get a notice and you go to the library branch where you had the library send that item. We've been expanding the number of branches. There's over 14 and branches now throughout the whole city where you can pick up your items. And we just added South Park. Just a day ago, we got the announcement that South Park the branch is going to be open on Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 6. So we're very happy about that. If you get to a curbside branch, and it's difficult for you to get out of your car to get your materials, all you need to do is call the branch and library staff will get your materials and bring them to you. On the slide, you can also see that I listed curbside printing. If you need something printed, we can print up to 10 free black and white copies a day for you. We would love you to be able to send that print job wirelessly from your computer or your tablet or your phone. And I just encourage you, there are instructions on the library's website, but you can also just call the library and somebody can walk you through that. Can I have the next slide? So how do you get a hold of the library? Sometimes, the phone is the quickest and the easiest to get a hold of somebody. We call that our quick information. We have, something like 20 people answering phone calls throughout the day. And they answer thousands of phone calls every month. They are incredibly smart and incredibly quick. And sometimes I actually even call them because I can't find something on the website. I'm trying to find some information, and they just always get it to me within about 5 seconds. They just know everything about the library. But if you would prefer to email a question or to go on to live chat, you can do that. And I put the web address there, but it's www.spl.org/ask. So it's pretty easy to remember that. Can I have the next slide? So some of our services, for example, answering questions that's an absolutely free service. You actually don't need a library card for that. But you do need a library card for checking out materials, the books or the CDs or the music CDs. And if you don't have a card, we are able to get you a card now. You can call Quick Information about it, or there's a link on our website where you can sign up and apply online. You can go to a branch to actually pick up your card. If it's hard to use the internet, you can actually just walk up to a curbside branch. And depending upon how busy they are, they can get you an actual card and a physical application. We're going to try really hard to make sure everybody has a card who wants one. Next slide. One of our most popular services is our hotspot program. And this is where you get this device that's called a hotspot, and it provides internet for you. So if you don't have easy access to internet or don't have it at home, this is a great option. They check out just like a book. You have to put a hold on. But what's so great about the library is just in the last 2 weeks from the last time we did a program on our Civic Coffee Hour, the library has almost doubled the number of hotspots available to check out. It's over 800 hotspots now that are checking out to patrons. So this is a great reason to get a library card. Next slide. Yep, it's tax season, and obviously things are really different now. Some of you may have actually come into library branches to meet with either United Way or ARP in person to get your taxes done for free. But both United Way and ARP are providing appointments, some virtual. They have different ways of doing it. Obviously not in the library branches, but if you have any questions about how to find our appointments or find United Way, call the library, call that Quick Information, and we have a ton of information about all of these services. We also have tax forms, a few tax forms at all the curbside branches. We have the 1040 and the 1040 SR in English and in Spanish. And at the Central Library, we have a few more forms. But if you need a form and you need it printed, we will print it for you. So never fear about that. Could I have the next slide? This is another service that we brought back. They're called museum passes, and we have a number of museums in the area where we will provide one pass a day. It's really for the whole system. It's sometimes tricky getting one of these passes, but they're absolutely free. It's usually for 2 adults and a number of children who can come in on the pass. And you get the pass online and you print it and you bring it with you along with some ID. And literally just the other day, we added the Wing Luke Museum is also on the list. I mean, I didn't even have time to change my slide here. This is how fast things are moving at the library. So next slide. I just wanted to highlight a new collection that is now digital, so you can find it online. This is with our Special Collections department. And this is a collection, we digitize them, so again, you can find them online, of pamphlets and newsletters and flyers that all represent part of the social history and other history of the Black community here in Seattle. In library speak, it's called ephemera because it's not a letter, it's not a book, it's sort of miscellaneous items. And it's so interesting. These items were collected by the local community around the Douglas Truth branch, as well as with library staff. So I encourage you to go on to our website, to our Special Collections department, and there's lots of other collections that are also digitized. So it's a wonderful collection about the history of Seattle. And next slide is our Some of our programs that we're doing here at the library, Silver Kite is a community arts organization. We've been bringing their programs to the library during the pandemic. You can be an absolute beginner. It's in all of these different areas, painting and drawing. Bollywood dance is one of the most popular programs. So if you want to get yourself moving, this is the workshop and program to go to. They're on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And we even have a senior social hour, which is a really nice way to make connections. So go onto our website to register for those programs. And finally, I think I'm almost done here. I just wanted to, if I could have the next slide, right, that all of our information about older adults at the library are on our Next Chapter site, which is spl.org/nextchapter. And you'll find all kinds of resources and blog posts and reading lists here, as well as our program. So I invite you to go visit that. And then my final slide is just my contact information. If you have any questions about our programs or have any suggestions for programs and services, I would love to talk with you. And my email is there at nancy.sloat@spl.org. So thank you very much, everyone. And please don't hesitate to ask me any questions about the library. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Quick follow-up: are the museum passes? Is there a cost associated with them, or are they free passes?
They are free passes, but you do need a library card for them. So that's right. Another reason to get a library card.
Very true. Very true. Thank you again for that update. If folks have questions for Nancy, the Q&A is open. We'll see if we can reply to it in the chat. And if whenever we go to the phones, please feel free to ask the question. All right. Again, with thanks to Nancy, we're going to move along on our program, and we're almost there to our main event. Those of you who have watched this program before have probably seen this webpage many times, the coronavirus.wa.gov. That's a good resource, but today I wanted to take a quick look, and Nura, I hope you forgive me. I just want to give folks a little bit, because there's been so many changes with vaccines, even in the past 2 weeks. Let me go and actually take a quick tour of what a slightly different resource that actually leads to this page as well. I'm going to, for a second, unshare and then share a different page here. I believe this is it. Here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna move it to a larger screen so I can see it better myself. All right, hopefully folks can see that on their screens if you're watching us online. And what I'm going through here is the Washington State Department of Health website, and I'm going to ask one of my moderators to please post that link. And the link is doh.wa.gov, and basically then we can actually go there and get to this landing page. Immediately, as soon as you land on Washington State Department of Health webpage, you have the links to Vaccine Phase Finder and Vaccine Locator. And these are important. These are the tools you should use if you're looking to find out if you're eligible and would like to get a COVID-19 vaccine. But one thing that I wanted to point out, especially considering what our topic is today, and also who I am personally, as a former refugee from the former Soviet Union, I certainly have experienced a lot of mistrust in government, and for the right reason. So I totally understand those of you who may be looking at these vaccines. You have every right to question it. So I think it's important to learn as much as possible about the vaccine that we know is safe because of what the scientific research and trials show us. But one thing that I think you won't get by going directly to this website here is information in languages other than English. But there is a way to find, not only find information in almost 30 languages, but now the Phase Finder itself is no longer bilingual. It used to be in English and Spanish, and now it is in 30 languages. I'm about to show you how that looks, and it looks pretty nice. So after you click on emergencies and COVID-19 from that web page, you will see again then these links: the yellow link to the vaccine Phase Finder and the green link to vaccine locator. But to find out if you're eligible and to get the code, you have to go through the vaccine Phase Finder. Well, if you prefer to do it, or you can only do it in a language other than English, this is what you can do. Is if we click on COVID-19 vaccine, actually tells us what the stages or the phases are, and it tells us that educators and childcare workers were recently, as of March 2nd, just 2 days ago, added to the current phase, which is the news that we, certainly a lot of us welcome that have children at home. So here, where there is, so right now you can sort of see Espanol here for Spanish, but there is a way to get, when you click Find Your Phase, there is a languages link here somewhere. I found it last night when I was looking for it. Let's come back to this real quick. Additional languages. Yeah, so let's go to, for example, let's go to Somali. So it's a drop down at the top of the web page that you can use for the languages if they're not listed at the top. But Somali actually is at the top here, so let's go ahead and click it. There we go. And so all the information here, it's information about phases, information about COVID-19, frequently asked questions, and this icon with a laptop and the purple it's the Department of Health logo, but it's purple, and an arrow pointing to the right. If you click that, then Phase Finder opens. But it should be, there you go. At first it opened in English and it had me worried, but here it is. It's in Somali, and so I'm assuming this means to start, and then it tells you this information. You can go back, I believe, or you can continue, and then you go through this to find out if you're in the phase, and then you get the code that you will need when you receive the vaccination, which there's a couple of ways of getting signed up for a vaccine, and of course there's an online way, but there are also phone numbers that you can use to get signed up. The centralized phone number, and we can actually get to that page that I was showing you earlier from this Department of Health webpage, which will then show us the phone numbers. So this is you would click on the guide to safer gatherings, and then click on home, and there's the page that I had on the screen earlier. And it talks more generically about COVID-19, but if you scroll all the way down, there's the who to contact numbers. Now, the general phone number for the state COVID-19 information hotline is listed elsewhere on that website. The number that's not there is the Washington Listens number, which I believe is very important to list, because unlike the general hotline, which you can use to learn about COVID-19, find out where you can sign up for vaccinations, Washington Listens adds this opportunity for people to call in and talk about any stress related to COVID-19 that they may be experiencing. And let me start with that number, actually. The Washington Listens number is 1-833-681-0211, and it's available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and on weekends, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The main number, though, is 1-800-525-0127, and that number is, as I mentioned, can be used for finding out where you can receive your vaccination. And the number there is also, if it's busy, you are able to call 1-888-856-5816 in case you're not getting through on the first number. The availability is a little bit different at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. On Monday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. They've just changed it. I'm just got my old script here. And then observe state holidays. It's that same 6 to 6 availability. So additionally, there are senior centers like Southeast Seattle Senior Center, and our friend Linda Green, who is a director, has recently announced that they're taking calls from older adults who are looking for help signing up for vaccinations. So certainly welcome you to look them up if that's that happens to be your senior center. So again, the resource is the Washington State Department of Health, and then you can navigate there to find information on vaccines, etc. So with that, I would like to go back to our original presentation. You'll see, if you're watching this online, you'll see on the screen the the coronavirus slide that I had earlier. But let's go ahead and advance it to Noura's first slide here, and that is this. So, Noura, before bringing you up on the screen, I just want to say how much I have appreciated working with you over the years. Noura will talk about this amazing new organization today, but let's not forget the organization that we got to know her from, which is Adams Interpreting, which is who we would always turn to when we had in-person events and we're looking for in-person interpretation. And she would find us people in all kinds of languages that would come from sometimes hours away. But without a fail, we would always have the interpretation that we were looking for. Such an honor and a pleasure to have you on the program today, Noura. If you go ahead and click your microphone icon, I will welcome you to the live show.
Thank you, Lenny, and it's good to be with you. Thank you also for sharing the coronavirus vaccines. Very important information for our community in these very challenging times. It's great to be with you, and thank you so much again for inviting me. I want to share with the community about Immigrant Women's Community Center, new and founded in 2020. However, going back to the history of this organization, it has really, the effort has been present in our community for over 2.5 decades. It was organically generated by women for women in our community, for immigrant women. And so that entire service was actually based on empathy, compassion, and humanity. I invite you all to check out our website at the end of today's presentation to really learn more about the history behind this organization. I have been honored and privileged to be among beautiful, resilient women in our community. I myself being an immigrant, I came to the United States as a young teenager, and I met beautiful immigrant women about 2.5 decades ago in the East Side, and we had tea and talked about our own immigrant journeys. And though my lived experience might have been a little different because I came here as very young, but I could resonate with so much of their journey and what they have been going through. So much of the women that I met with at that time were, some of them were from coming to the United States as refugees. So they came from war-torn countries where they lost loved ones. They lost everything they had in that process. Also, they were wounded physically and emotionally. So we created our own little healing circle where we would share these stories and find comfort in really crying together and sort of finding a way of healing and moving forward from there. It was very important for the community to find new home in Washington that was safe and inclusive, and to really restart their journey here from scratch. A lot of these incredible women that I met came here as adults with children. They were from various different professional backgrounds. Some of them were doctors, social workers, teachers, but when they came here, they ended up starting their journey from scratch, doing jobs that was not related to their field, and finding a way to really restart their life in their new home. A lot of them did not feel comfortable asking for help. It was really important for us to acknowledge when these struggles were happening and families were silent about asking for help. So I reached out to some of my close friends and community members to help connect families to resources, and to sometimes also do a small fundraiser to help with the immediate needs of the families. I have to say it wasn't just one way helping and one way receiving. It was more about the community giving in and also giving back, and being in the receiving end as well as giving back to the community. So that need over time has grown quite a bit. And so I had to expand my pool of friends and community members who would support this cause, and to the interfaith community. In 2020, IWCC was founded by a diverse group of interfaith women from various different backgrounds in terms of their professional backgrounds. Some of us are in the legal, medical, mental health, financial fields, and we're all driven by recognition of gender disparities and lack of access to unbiased, crucial resources in the community. The beauty of this organization is that everyone who is involved has been part of it for over years, and I call this community silent transformers. They like to make a huge impact without seeking any credit, recognition, or any of that stuff. They want to, in fact, they want to be not known for their contribution, right? So I think that's what's really beautiful about this community space, now called the Immigrant Women's Community Center. It's by women for women. We help each women and their families thrive in our community by building connection, providing one-on-one support services, advocating for their needs in the community, and providing educational and training opportunities. It is a safe space for immigrant family to come to and find connections to the larger community. Next slide, please. Thank you. Our mission is to provide community building, training, and direct services, primarily for immigrant women and their families, promoting financial independence, emotional health, and physical well-being. So it is, in a way, a holistic service for immigrant women and their communities. We work with other communities that are already providing excellent services in the community to fill in the gap, whether it be housing, domestic violence, legal advocacy, mental health, etc. So we make sure that we work with other organizations that are providing such incredible services, and that we are in the position of filling in the cultural gap, right? And all of the other ways of families finding a way of navigating the system, right? And connecting to resources. Next slide, please. Our values is dignity, independence, self-determination, humanity, and inclusion. Really, that is what we are all about. We want to make sure that every family that walks into Immigrant Women's Community Center feels these values, that they know that they are part of this community and they are an asset to our community. We learn from them as much as they learn from us. So it is actually a partnership between communities. Next slide, please. These are the amazing founding board members. These beautiful board members have been part of this organization before it became an organization. They have been fully invested with their time financially, and really they wanted to be sure that they took part of the structure of this foundation, so that we can hand it over to the younger generation, and hopefully that they will take it forward. They all have been incredible silent transformers who have really made this organization happen. Jennifer Carls is our board president, and she has been the key member in our organization that has helped us learn so much about nonprofits, right? And how to work with this new structure. And Faith Reeves is a medical doctor who has been practicing in Washington for the past 30 years and has always been passionate about helping communities and immigrant communities. Sherry Hall has been an entrepreneur and had a deep passion to connect and help immigrant communities as well. Zain Karat has been part of this for almost 2 decades and has helped in various ways, and not only also financially like all of the other board members, and they all volunteered really in so many ways to make these services possible. But Zain has also become one of our interpreters as we reach these wonderful immigrant communities. So without them, there would be no IWCC. They are the backbone of this community. Thank you. Please, next slide. So our services is in 3 parts. We have case management, peace building, workshop, and training. Our case management is based on case management characterized by advocacy, communication, referral, and resource management that promotes inclusion and equity. So we partner with each family that comes to IWCC in a way of empowering the family to see where they would like to go from here and how they would like to get to the next step in their life. We stay with them until they reach their potential. So we make sure that each family has a community that's backing them until they're able to reach their potential. Peace building is open to all communities, not just immigrant community. We can't build peace unless we have everyone on board. So we encourage all communities to come forward and to join us in these peace building efforts. Our peace building is part of our peace building is mediation services, healing circles, community discussions, conflict resolution workshops, support groups, and more. These are the spaces that are created for communities to come together and have difficult dialogues. we recently partnered with Eastside for All to create spaces for difficult dialogues in our communities. We recently had a series of dialogues that started in Kirkland, sponsored by the city of Kirkland, for race and racism. And David Lacey has been our partner from Eastside for All. Workshop and trainings. We offer community-based trainings, workshop to meet the needs of the community. We partner with other community-based organizations. So we want to make sure that the immigrant community has the space to learn about the COVID vaccines, for example, that Lenny just went over, to learn about the resources that are available, to also really understand the importance of vaccine. Lenny mentioned earlier how it is sometimes really difficult for immigrant families coming from different backgrounds to trust such vaccines. And so we want to make sure that they have the proper education so that they can make an informed decision for their families. These trainings are really crucial to the families, especially nowadays. And we bring in experts from outside to offer those trainings, as well as housing rights, employment rights, those other kind of trainings, as well as domestic violence organizations that we are building network to try to refer them, our clients. So we work with different organizations in the community to really make sure that we are meeting the holistic need of each family. Please, next slide. Now, I want to make sure that I thank the entire community that really made Immigrant Women's Community Services possible. I like to start with our beautiful children who were born into this effort and who have become selflessly involved in this process by volunteering in their own youth community and making a difference with their youth team. So I also want to thank Beck Markworth, who is a branding and marketing expert. She has consulted with IWCC for the past 2.5 years and in pro bono. So she has given us her time throughout these years to help us put it in a way that really stands out and that shows the community what our work is. I also want to thank Shireen Manor, who is the person who designed our network, website, alongside with Peg. So Peg and Shireen are the two people who partner to perfect our website, and we've been getting a lot of great feedback about the website, and I want to make sure that people knew who is behind that talent. I want to thank Danielle Oren, who is our volunteer coordinator, joined us in 2020. We're very grateful to have him on board. David Lacey, who has been our partner in building peace from Eastside for All. And last but not least, we want to thank all of our community who has really believed in Immigrant Women's Community Center and who generously contributed financially and their time and who have chosen to really make a difference in our community. I encourage all of you to join us. If you could log on into our website, www.iwccwa.org, and then scroll down to join our community. There are different ways that you can be part of Immigrant Women's Community Center, and we welcome you all. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm ready for questions if there's any. The one most important thing that I really want to focus on before I take questions is that part of Immigrant Community Center is really making sure that we value our community elders, right, and the wisdom they bring to us and our families and learn from their experience. So we are very interested in connecting the youth, who's equally important to us, because this organization is really here for the youth to take over, and we're asking the youth to join us now so that they can help us co-create so that they take over in short time. But we also want the youth and our elder community to connect, and for them to really have the opportunity to learn from our elder community, their lived experience, and for them to share the history that they lived through. So we look forward to doing more with Lenny in the near future in doing those connections. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Noura. And well, speaking of youth, fair warning to Justin, you'll be the first to read off the question, making that connection. And to folks who are watching this online, we would like to ask that you go ahead and start typing those questions, comments, any thoughts you have about Noura's work or the library's road to reopening. Please go ahead and put those in. But first, we're going to check out what's happening, with the phones. So for that, we have to do a couple of switches here. All right, so let's see. A warning to those of you who are on the phone, I'm about to open up the lines. So that's going to be your chance to ask a question or offer some feedback. Hello, you are live on Close to Home. What is your question? All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the phone, you folks. We do appreciate it. We're gonna close the lines again, and we will go to the live Q&A questions online. So let me go ahead and close the lines here. All right, very good. So next up, and before we go to Justin, I just wanted to mention to folks responding to what Noura has mentioned in her presentation is about fair housing. April is a National Fair Housing Month, and we will have two presentations related to housing. On April 1st, we'll have the CEO of SHAG, which is Sustainable Housing for Ageless Generations, with a partner from HopeLink, and also later that month we'll have Emily Alvarado, who is the director of the Office of Housing here at the City of Seattle. But more on that a little bit later. I definitely want to invite you to come back for those. But here we go with Justin, and let's take a look and see what questions we have in our live Q&A. And Justin, please remember to unmute your microphone there. I think it's still muted. And the way this system works, I don't have a way of opening Justin's microphone. So let me go over to Michael as we try to figure out what's happening with Justin there. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Lenny. Looks like we've got one question here asking, what are the needs of the older adults in your community, Noura?
And Noura, you have to click the microphone every time. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, we would love the elders in our community to, for example, be storytellers in our storytelling programming. We have storytelling session the 28th of every month, and so we would love for the elders in our community to share their stories and experiences But more than that, if they would like to be a part of our community, we would love for them to tell us what we can do together. How can we work together so that our elders community have a place in IWCC? What can we do together? We're really open to all suggestions, and we welcome any kind of help. And this is since we're a very new community organization, everything is on the table. So we invite whatever energy you bring in.
All right, thank you so much, Nura, for addressing that. And as we're working out some of our tech difficulties there with Justin's audio, let's go back to Michael to see what else folks are asking.
Thanks, Lenny. We also had a comment come in from one of our colleagues, Irene Stewart, who wanted to mention that she hopes Nora, as well as audience members, might want to check out the ARP, the AARP Community Challenge Grant opportunity. There's an application deadline coming up for their 2021 grant cycle in April, and that may be an opportunity to fund some of these kinds of initiatives out in the community.
All right, thank you for that comment, Irene. We appreciate that reminder about the challenge grant. Well, we have just a few minutes here. So, Nura, can I ask a question about, what does it mean for your interpretation business? You've had that for quite a while. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Lenny. So the interpretation business will stay. I will be slowly transitioning to IWCC, and that transition will take at least a year. So you will still be hearing my voices on the other side. But the reason we are doing a slow transition is because we want to make sure that we have a very strong team to take over my work in that agency. So it will still be here. It will still serve City of Seattle and all other organizations. And I will still be part of it partially, but eventually, maybe in about a year, the hope is that we will have younger, more inspiring people to take over the interpreting side, and I will be more focused on the Immigrant Women's Community Center.
All right. Well, that sounds good, Nura. Of course, I'm asking that question selfishly because we have relied on the help of your agency over the past couple of years, and I no longer for our Aging and Disability Services as a large case management program. And I know you were referred to me by one of our case managers, a Russian-speaking case manager, gave me your number, and that's how we started working together. So certainly glad to hear that that's not going away, but also I'm very excited for your new venture and wish you all the best. Thank you again so much for being here today. We don't seem to have any more questions left in the live Q&A, which is fine because we're running right on time here. It's 11:30. If folks think of additional questions, you're welcome to contact us. You can even once this concludes, the Q&A will stay open and you will be able to post a question. We'll find it, and when we upload this video on YouTube, we will certainly plan to post it there, and then we'll see if Nura can respond or Nancy if that question is about the library. In closing, I'd like to say, kind of repeat what I said earlier about the April 1st event when we're kicking off our national Fair Housing Month. That's a month from now, I know, so please save the date. Same place, same time, aging bit.ly/age-friendly live, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. I already mentioned Jay Wolford, CEO of Sustainable Housing for Ageing Generations, SHAG. We'll talk about sustaining housing, supporting residents during COVID-19. We'll also hear from Sarah Cisco. She is back from HopeLink Mobility Management. She had previewed this new tool called findaride.org on an earlier program. I believe it was back in October or November, but now it's fully up and running. So she'll talk about how to use that very useful tool, and also talk about COVID-19 vaccine transportation resources. So we hope that you will check it out. And, you know, thank you all for being here this whole time. You know, I started off this whole show by saying, you know, if you're here, you are an age-friendly champion. And I think that's what we are. We go back to our communities, virtually or otherwise, and we champion this way of you know, all ages being welcomed to the table, being included in decision making, and living a comfortable life to the extent that it is possible under the current, you know, pandemic circumstances. And we hope that you will join our online community, our community of like-minded individuals, by clicking the subscribe button right up there and clicking the bell as well, so that you know next time we add content that's related to this work and to these community connection opportunities. Thank you again for being here. We hope you enjoy the sunshine out there. I'm looking over at my window. It's coming right through there. And have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everybody.